folks, welcome to the video. Anyone who's been watching over my channel over the last couple of days will actually see that I put up a video about a potentially very disturbing incident upon Scotrail. The first one covered absolutely everything, the wheres, the whens, the why, the what, etc. Albeit I was very het up about it. And yes, I did use language because it's part of Queen's English. So yeah, I covered everything, showed how angry I was. Still pretty angry about it, but I've been able to, let's say, speak about it. And by the end of this video, Scotrail, and I'm talking to you, I'm pointing the finger down the barrel of the camera right now, you will be responsible to actually provide an answer as to what happened and what will be done to prevent the next one to happen. Now, if we go back into pages of history, I think it must have been 2012 from what I've seen on Google. Right, there was a guy that got on at Edinburgh Waverley and he was going via Edinburgh Park. He fell asleep, allegedly. I'm not too sure if he did or didn't, but anyway, when the clippy came along, he had the wrong type of ticket and he was refusing to pay up for another one, so he got invited to dismount the train at the next closest stop. But unfortunately, public just grabbed him and threw him straight to the platform, and the train rolled off. And that train still contained his bag of medical stuff, I believe it to be insulin. And put it that way, the bag was returned because it contained medical equipment that is conducive to life, and withholding it any further would have people up in charges. So there we go. And at first, the first Scotrail were not going to be doing anything with regards to the training guard, but turned out about a couple months later I ended up getting relieved of duty. Alright, and to be honest, you know, it was a situation where, you know, the guy had originally got his ticket at Waverley, but he was tired and he wasn't focusing right, so he just punched a few buttons and there it went. So yeah, that was partly a PR disaster for Scotrail in 2012. I'm actually just turning my phone to plane mode so I can get this video dealt with. Now, I will say, train guards, no matter if it's the big intercities or the wee regional trains, they have a nightmare of a job. We'll start talking about the regional train clippies first, also known as train conductors, conductresses, ticket examiners. Right, when it's these wee rural services, quite often the train will pass through some deprived areas where there are schools and kids come on the train as feral as anything, sometimes drinking, sometimes fighting, sometimes trying to rip the seats out, sometimes all bundling into the train toilet to try and avoid paying a fare. There are other things that go on as well. You've got people smoking cannabis, actually just avant-garde, like right in the middle of a fucking public service train. Yeah, total nightmares. Total nightmares. And then you've got the health nightmares, you know, people that come on the train and have a diabetic low. And that is very serious, and you have to, you know, it's a very stressful event. So same with things like heart attacks, seizures, even people coming on the train and they're out their face on drugs and they're ODing, stuff like that. Very stressful situations indeed. And then you've got the dreaded S, which is suicide. I will say the word suicide on my channel because I'm not monetized and I don't believe in the S word, the B word, the C word, or all that other woke pish that goes on, right? You've got gangs fighting on these wee rural / urban-esque trains. It's a total nightmare. And that's on top of trying to sell tickets, give advice to the passenger flow, and deal with people that just come on being abusive. I can see why there are things out there like #ShopKind and #not in our job, etc. But I'll talk more about that later. Now if we move over to intercity trains, big intercity names like Caledonia Sleeper, Transpenn Express, Cross Country, Avanti West Coast, Lumo has a new one. Doesn't serve Glasgow currently. Wouldn't mind seeing it cover Glasgow, but you know. Anyway, but these they call them train guards exclusively. Just call them train guards. And the one above a train guard is a train manager, but the train guard has to deal with stuff like having people in the right seats, you know, a dreaded reservation system, what to do when people are not prepared to move, what to do with people that are smoking their vapes at the vestibule area. Things like people impermissibly sitting in the toilet for random long periods of time, the fare dodging, fare evasion that happens on these intercity type trains. You've got to keep your eye out on passengers that are like getting more and more drunk with the onboard shop thing. You've got same situations like health situations. Then you've got, especially like between Warrington and other stops, gangs come on, start fighting people, smoke cannabis in the vestibule area, people that should be sitting in the unreserved coach because they've just bought a ticket on face value. They should be in coach U, not coach E, all that stuff. These trains, especially Avanti West Coast, they're about 11 carriages, so they can hold north of 700 passengers, and keeping a check of their tickets, their seat position, where they're getting off, if they're on split tickets, stuff like that. Absolute mayhem, might I add, right? And then people falling asleep on the train and missing a stop and having them warble on about it, and you trying to get them repositioned back to Warrington Bank Quay, stuff like that. It's just so stressful. I mean, and then there's what you call the adaptation services side of thing, you know, where people are trying to get on the train with the assistance of the disability ramp, and then making sure the disability ramp is available at the opposite end of the journey. There's been plenty of examples of the ramp not being available, mostly in cross-country examples if you see on YouTube. It's just hell. No matter what way, a train guard's job is never easy. And it must be a challenge to deal with, no matter if it's a rural or inter-city service, with regards to fear dodgers and watching people. There's even a group of people that fear dodge for a hobby, and it's so fucking obvious. It's so obvious. I've even seen it with my own eyes when I was on a train, and I was like, "Did I make a hobby out of this? Just go back to doing drugs. It's easier." And I just said it, yes. Yeah, it's a difficult job, no matter what end of the world you're on. Now, I want to talk about the incident that affected me on the 21st of September 2024 at 17:11 hours. Before I got on the train at 17:03 at the station called Singer, right? Singer's ticket machine is actually behind. It's behind a shelter. It's in a shelter, but the shelter has been pulled out of service for at least 3 months now because of a damaged roof. So people can't go in and buy a ticket before a train. And it does say in the rules, in the plaque, it says the rules. If this station is unmanned or does not have working ticket machines, you know, that's the exception to getting on the train without a ticket. Right. So I was on my 17:03 up to my bit, and the whole carriage, when I initially got into this carriage, everyone was drinking like no tomorrow, which at the moment is technically not allowed. Actually, very, very openly not allowed. Right? People dancing, drinking, whatever, right? Rolling up joints, I even seen, right? So I thought, well, no, I'm going into the carriage. And I seen the train guard up at the far end of that carriage, up against the wall. Not in that kind of way. I know what these are all like, right? But anyway, and I just kind of sat, and then the train was coming to my station, so it'd be like, "We're now approaching uncertain end station," right? So at that time it was about 17:11 on the watch and on the phone, and I made my way towards the door, and this is a reconstruction, right? As I was coming off the train, I was like this, chatting away on an important phone call, and I felt my arm being tugged back like this, and I looked round, and I said, "I'm getting off at this station," and she said, "Not until you pay." Yep, just before we go any further, she was a female, approximately 5'6", Chinese, that's IC5, and I was quite surprised. She was actually still holding my arm, so I couldn't move off the train, and people were wanting to get on the train, but because of the situation going here, I was blocking the door. I had to openly apologise to the passengers coming onto the train and say, "Listen, sorry, there's a situation going on here," and she's just grabbed my arm. She immediately let go because I exposed her. And I'll expose her again. "Hey you, Missy. I'm talking to you. Your actions have been talked about, sunshine, petal cups and buttercups. You have ought to explain to your employer why you did this. Okay? Here endeth my sermon. Fucking sit down. Right, everyone else." So, just as I was freed, I went back to her and said, "Listen, you just can't go around grabbing and pulling your passengers. You're not Jimmy Savile." And then I walked off the train. Somebody did ask what was going on, and I said, well, I quoted what went on just to further expose the clown for what she is. She clown. You can't get him. Remember, stay woke, guys. Right. So I got back home and did a video called a walkie-talkie, and yes, I was very angry. And you will be able to see this video if you want to have a quick scour around the channel. Absolutely fair play to you. Right. And when I got home, I did contact Scotrail via the 0345 number, and I have put in a complaint. I wish I asked the call handler at the time, do I need to contact the police about this? Because it's a open-ended one, I don't really know on this matter, but what I will say is, see if I did that to her, she'd scream for rape. Yeah? She would start her tears, she would phone her police, police would arrest me, I would get charged, I would get remanded, my life would come to an end. Right? It would. But at this point in time, because she did that to me, aka a passenger, the worst it's ever going to come of it is potentially being sacked. Now maybe a wee bit of exposure on YouTube. Remember everyone, like, share and subscribe. So, you know, I think it's really, it's so two-tier. It's more two-tier than two-tier Kia. Did I say Mr. Two-tier Kia? Yes, I fucking did. Suck it, Kia. Right? And from what County Hopkins says, Kia probably does. But anyway, let's be honest, we all like her. Anyway, so, what I'm trying to say, apart from exposing the two-tier state, right, I'm wanting to say, if I did that to her, it would be panda-fucking-monium kicking off. And if she can stand by this, not part of my job, and shop kind, and treat train staff with respect, then she has to treat customers with respect. She can't go grabbing people. She can't go grabbing them and blocking doorways and stuff. Health and safety number one. Yes. Cheeky chops, I'm talking to you. Sunshine and petal cups and buttercups. Right? I'm just patronising you now. I'm actually quite enjoying this. But ultimately, the reality is, by placing hands on a customer and grabbing them with no medical reason is assault. And this is the dilemma that I'm having in my head, whether to take it to the police or not. I've already taken it to Scotrail, and I'll tell you something. You want to see something naughty? I'll show you something naughty. Yeah. Right. Oh. There we go. I've got a first reply. I've got a reply here to give him further information. My address, my phone number, date of birth, clothing at the time, location of the incident, time of the incident. I've already covered it, stupid cunt. Yeah, I just dropped the C-bomb. Who gives a flying toss? Right, because she is a C-bomb. Yeah. Right. See if I was a young child and she touched Mom, she can be in very serious amounts of trouble. Right? But, you know, at this point, she can raise hands to a 30-year-old man, and the worst that will ever come is maybe a wee finger wag at Dunmuir depot, where they have the ticket guards base it, also at Highland, Dumbarton. But we'll just focus down at Dunmuir. She's most likely to be based at Dalmuir. Oh, docs. Yes! Right? But I hope her colleagues find this video. I hope she finds the video. Because what she did could theoretically be viewed as overzealous and being overly powerful. Right? But once something goes on another, once hands go on another person, that's assault. And I'm sure she wouldn't do that with Big Tessa. There's a woman that I know called Big Tessa. She names herself Big Tessa. And I tell you something, Big Tessa would knock the shite out of her. And just get off the train like nothing happened. Right? That's how some people deal with that. But unfortunately not for me. What I am doing is I'm going to go through the complete legally abiding channels and also plaster it over social media what this cheeky chops was up to. In these rules, hashtag Scotrail and not part of my job, some of the rules can actually make a lot of common sense. There's a lot of people that approach customer service people of all platforms very disrespectfully and very aggressively, and that is totally unacceptable. People should be able to peaceably do their job, but also passengers and customers should be completely fear-free of not having to deal with mental manipulation, being shouted at, being embarrassed at, being touched, being harassed, or even lewd sexual remarks. Us customers need protections too, but two-tier care doesn't care. He doesn't care. He only cares as long as he gets his stipend of votes and money. Right? But customers do need to have, a minimal expectation of what to expect, and also what to do when customer service skills go out the window and things go wrong. Contact us on a website, a Facebook page, a Twitter isn't quite cutting it, to be perfectly honest. There have been multi-hundred thousand examples of shops staff going full pelt cycle on customers. Same with bus drivers, same with train conductors, conductresses, guards, whatever you like to call them. This is not good enough. Now, because of my health back in 2017 and having to be in hospital under section, right, I've actually found this one out. I am viewed as a vulnerable adult, and it has also been confirmed by the police through a conversation, right? So this woman has just raised hands to a vulnerable adult. This is serious, and this probably gives me quite a leverage to actually take it to the police and charge her. Whether I'm going to do it, I don't know. There is definitely clout to go forward with it, and the judge would not look particularly careful. The judge wouldn't look clemently on the case, no matter if the woman's whipped her tits out and said have a suck on them airbags, right? Unfortunately, no. The judge will see it as she has performed an assault on a vulnerable person, And for the absolute clarity before I bring things to an end, right, Singer Station, as I said, has a ticket machine, but it's within a shelter that has been closed at least 3 months because of roof damage that hasn't been quite currently looked at or even repaired. So unfortunately, yeah, I had to go on the train without a ticket, but the thing is, there's a plaque in the station says, you know, it says if you go on the train without a ticket you will be paying the full fare. Though an exception is when when there's no ticket issuing facilities or the ticket machine's out of order. So there we go. So that neatly falls into that exception. Now, I don't normally do these videos, right? But I'm really wanting to lay it down. I want to lay it down nice and hard. All the specificities. And, you know, lay everything out on the table, warts and all, good, bad or indifferent. Because I genuinely feel, whether it was an overzealous, Karenistic type Clippy is irrelevant, I don't care actually. What I do care about is her raising hand to me. And raising hand to a vulnerable adult. What she did was possibly an act of overzealous, but it's a crime. What happened? I will be getting more advice in the matter, but there is a particular chance that I could actually, once the Scotrail investigation finishes, I will take it as far as I need to. Right folks, I think I've generally finished things up here now, so this isn't a walkie-talkie video. This is a video that kind of stands on its own ground, and that's the way I want it to. But I will happily have it featuring the Wall of Theo. And whoever you are, Mrs. Cheeky Chops, you have just been Wall of Theo, and this will be on YouTube and a website called Rumble. Some people think it's a right-wing website with links to Donald Trump and all that stuff. A lot of pish anyway. Right. I'm dry as fuck, I need a drink. Bye.